Okay, hello everyone. It's been a while since I've done one of these videos and I'm excited to go through another past paper with you. I hope you're dealing with the heat well and I hope that you're enjoying your summer holiday so far. If you have had any, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run through the section A quickly. I'm going to go through how I would run through the answers to the questions. I'm going to be quite formulaic because that's what the exam board is looking for in terms of how you answer these questions. I've done quite a lot of examining over this summer, so have a relatively good idea of what they're looking for. And yeah, if you enjoy this video, then fantastic. Hopefully you get a lot out of it, and I'm going to start with it now. Okay, so as you can see, you usually get 25 minutes to do this. 25 minutes, which usually people don't use all of that 25 minutes. Usually they use most of it and they try to save it. Sorry, they use some of it and they try to save it so that they can have more time on section B. So without further ado, let's make a start. Okay, so UK CPI base year is 2005. So they've given us September 2013, 14 and 15. Calculate the percentage change in the UK Consumer Price Index from September 2014 to September 2015. You advise share working. Okay, so percentage change is new minus old over old times 100. Okay, so here my new is September 2015, which is 128.2. My old is September 2014, which is 128.4 over 128.4 times 100. Okay, and if you type that into that calculator, you should get a percentage change of 0.15%. Now, it may come out as 0, but it does not matter. Okay, deflation. Okay, so deflation, often people get it confused with disinflation or the other way around, disinflation with deflation. Deflation means a negative change in prices or negative inflation. So it is when the general change in price level falls below 0%, e.g. minus 1%. Okay, which one of the following is most likely to be a cause of deflation? A fall in interest rates? No, that would increase inflation. Income tax rates, again, increase inflation, so cause inflation or deflation. Fall in unemployment means a rise, hopefully, in employment, which then would cause a higher disposable income. So that would these would all cause an increase in inflation. So we can cross those out. So the answer is A. Fall in oil prices. That would reduce cost push inflation. Oil being a key determinant in production. All right. Between 2008 and 2014, the number of people in the UK looking to work longer hours and therefore receive more total pay increased from 76482 to 14788. Over the same period, the unemployment rate fell to 5.7%. With reference to the statement above, explain the term underemployment. Okay, underemployment. Now, with reference to the statement above is a key thing here. If you don't do that, you can't get one of the marks. So underemployment is when a worker is working fewer hours than they would like to. Okay, so the other thing that you can say is that it's when they're overqualified for the work that they do. So now I need to make reference to data, so I'm going to do that there. That's my application. So we can say so the number of people willing to work longer hours has risen from 76482 to 142,788. Okay. Now finally, we need to have some kind of analysis because it's 1 mark for knowledge, 1 mark for application, 1 part for analysis. So we might say a cause of this underemployment. So underemployment may be caused by a recession and the lack of demand for labour. Therefore, I mean, I'm not going to write this out, but therefore there wouldn't be as many people working as many hours as they would like to. All right, which one of the following is the most likely reason for a fall in the unemployment rate? So, increasing unemployment benefit payments. No, that's going to encourage them to remain unemployed because they can just work for longer. Not work and earn a salary which they'll be happy with. Decreasing real GDP. No. Decreased funding for apprenticeships. Less people are skilled. No. So increased consumer spending. Yes, and the reason why is because labour is a form of derived demand, which means that if I want to buy a TV, for example, then there may be a job created for a TV salesman or woman. And that is where the derived demand element comes from. Okay, real GDP in selected economies. Again, we've got index numbers, the base year being 2008, which is here, and so it starts at 100. So it says, which one of the following can be inferred from the chart? The UK's real GDP is smaller in 2014 than it was in 2008. Okay, so UK, here we go. 2008 is there, about 100. And then the United Kingdom in 2014 goes to here. Which means that it is higher than that. So no, that's not right. Between 2008 and 2014, France's real GDP growth rate was higher than Italy's. Okay, so we've got France, the black line, and Italy as the slightly grayer line. And for every year, it can see that. So I think this is going to be the answer. Between 2008 and 2014, inflation was lower in France than in the UK. We don't know that. It's not clear. There's no information about the inflation rate, so we can't make a judgment on that. France experienced a greater fall in real GDP than the UK in 2014. Again, no. So the answer, as I suspected, was B. Okay, anytime you see the term real, that is adjusted for inflation. So hence, the term GDP is the total value of output adjusted for inflation. Done. Okay, so that's done. The 1 mark here for output, value of outputs, not number of things, and then adjusts for inflation. Another one, so 2 marks. Illustrate a negative output gap on the diagram below. All right, negative output gap is quite easy to demonstrate. You don't even need to do particularly much here. We know that where the vertical point of the AS curve is, this is full employment output. So any output that is before this in terms of the intersection of aggregate demand and the LRAS curve, the Keynesian LRAS curve that we have here, Keynesian, and the classical one would just be a straight line going down like so, but we're not bothered about that, so we can just ignore that. So here the output gap is just here. This is the negative output gap, the distance between YFE, full employment output, and Y negative output gap. And just to back up that point, if my AD curve intersected here, then there would be no output gap. So we would be at full employment output. The Chancellor announced in 2015 budget that the personal allowance, the annual income that can be earned before starting to pay income tax, would increase from £10,600 to £11,000 in April 2016. This means that consumers will pay less income tax. Annotate the aggregate demand and aggregate supply diagram below to show the likely impact of the increase in the personal allowance on the UK's price level and real output. Okay, so what they're really concerned about is you showing the correct shift, but also labeling the equilibrium points. Now, there could be a couple of things that you could do here, but the thing that I think is easiest to illustrate is the fact that aggregate demand is going to increase. And the reason why is, if you think about the aggregate demand formula, C plus I plus G plus X minus N, that's consumption, investment, government spending, exports and imports, the consumption section is going to increase. And the reason why is because the MPC is going to increase, or the MPC is going to be very high for low-income households because they spend a lot of any additional income they earn on necessities that they might need. And so they don't save it like wealthier people. So what we should find is that the aggregate demand curve shifts outwards from 80 to 81. And because it asked me about the price level and output, I need to draw my equilibrium point. So here's P2, and here is Y2. And that's done. Okay, so we can show that there. We don't need to draw any arrows. I've done that, but it's not necessary at all. Okay, direct tax. So in this case, what they're really looking for is for you to mention the fact that a direct tax is one where the burden can't be passed on. So burden of tax can't be passed on. And the example that I would give, e.g., is like income tax or corporation tax, for example. You can't ask someone to pay your income tax for you, unfortunately. Which of the following is an example of a direct tax? No. I can ask someone to buy me something that has VAT applied to it. No, no. And funnily enough, we mentioned corporation tax, and so the answer is C. All right, UK consumer confidence. So I believe that this is the last question. Yeah, this is the last question in section A. The chart below shows the results from a survey of UK's consumer confidence in their financial situation. A negative balance means that on average, consumers reported their financial situation got worse. Positive balance means they reported it improved, and a zero balance indicated no change. This is recorded on a scale from -100 to 100. So what we can see here is that generally the trend is that consumer confidence decreases up into 2012, and then it starts to recover and then actually go positive in 2015. So explain one likely reason for the change in consumer confidence between 2012 and 2015. Okay, so we can see that consumer confidence is increasing. As it's 3 marks, I need to make sure that I'm referencing the data. If I don't reference the data, then I'm not going to get all 3 marks. And I also need a bit of analysis. So I'm going to go for one likely reason there's been this improvement in the consumer confidence. Oops. Is lower unemployment rates. But you could have a whole host of different things. So you could have economic growth. You could have rising incomes, especially with inflation at 9.1%. If somehow you manage to get your boss to increase your salary by 9.5%, technically you get a real pay rise. I think there's going to be very few people who actually exceed that, unfortunately. Okay, now as I mentioned, here's 1 mark. Second mark, reference the data. Okay, so I can say that in 2014, I'm going to just, for the sake of ease, I'm going to put CC in there, just so I don't. So consumer confidence is, oh, sorry, not 2014, 2012. Okay, in 2012, consumer confidence is approximately minus 22, and rises to 4 plus 4 in 2050. Okay. So that's my second mark. My third mark, I'm going to say one reason why, and I'm just going to stick with unemployment because that was the main one I was going to say. And I might say that the rise in confidence is because of the improvement or feeling employees may have for job security. Done. 1, 2, 3. Bish, bash, bosh. Finally, which one of the following is most likely to result from an improvement in UK consumer confidence? A decrease in the marginal propensity to. Okay, marginal just means the next something. Okay, so if there's going to be an improvement in UK consumer confidence, is there going to be a decrease in the marginal propensity to consume? No, probably is going to be an increase. A decrease in the marginal propensity to tax, unlikely to change, so no. Import, a decrease in the marginal propensity to import. No, if we're thinking about the UK economy, the UK has a high MPM, meaning that they spend a significant proportion of any additional income on imported goods because we don't produce those. And then finally, save. Well, if there's an improvement in consumer confidence, then actually we might consume more. We might have an increase in MPC. So we're going to have potentially a fall in MPS. And that is the last answer to the question. And we have done that. And hopefully my ramblings have been helpful to you. And that is how I would answer the 2017 Section A of an AS paper. I hope you found that useful. And I'm going to be posting more content as I'm now on my summer holidays, having finished the school term. So hopefully I can help you in the lead up to any retakes that you might have or any other things that you might be interested in. Thank you very much. And yeah, best of luck and have a lovely summer.